Hey, everybody. Okay, so you finished your first vignette, the first draft of it. You want to revise it. And I know that a lot of people hate revising, and I get it. The reason that most people really don't like revising, and I like revising now, I never did before, is they confuse it with editing. And editing can be, it's necessary, but it's not the same thing. It's figuring out the grammar, figuring out, if everything kind of fits, that kind of thing. And it's just a lot of persnickety stuff. Revising should be different. Revising is you are taking a look at this and figuring out, okay, so what fits? What would make this piece sing more? Now, the first thing you have to do is you had an idea before you started as to what this piece was going to be about. It's very likely that it changed as you were writing, so that you started, well, I think this is a piece about how our relationship changed for the better, but in fact it changed for the worse. And maybe it's about some unnameable emotion. Most of my emotions I can't name because they're, as I said earlier, they're far too complex to name. I just can't do it. It's if I could, then I wouldn't need to write vignettes, right? I'm trying to. So it's really about that thing. Once you've figured that out, that's when you begin. Most people will say, okay, well, I'm just going to go through and I'll see if I can fix things and strengthen things. But if you don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish, if you're just kind of going at it sort of haphazardly, well, then it's very frustrating. It's like, I don't know if this fits or not. This is, who knows? It seems all right. But then I feel like something's off. But once you've determined what's it about, you know why it's off. You know why a bit of dialogue isn't working, for example, because it's not really talking about or heading toward that thing you're trying to show. So in my earlier example, when I was talking about boogie boarding, it's like, okay, well, maybe I've got this whole piece where I'm talking to somebody out in the waves, and we're talking about, what we're going to do for lunch later. And it's really just glows. It's just brilliant. It's beautiful bit of dialogue, but it doesn't fit. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to use it later. When the wave comes and I start to go on to it, I've got maybe two sentences, let's say, but that's the key of it. That's the thing. That's where I want to expand, right? And maybe the dialogue now can change. And so instead of talking about lunch, now it becomes a piece of fiction because it didn't actually happen. We talk about, okay, how are we going to catch this wave? What is the relationship of sand to wave, right? As we realize where things break and where they're likely to break because of the shifting sands below us, right? That kind of thing. Now you're talking about a relationship. How did this relationship change? What was important to you about that relationship? What do you want to show to us? Then you're going to have some details, and they'll be, say, you were in a restaurant and somebody's eating a bowl of chili and it was really aromatic. Does that in some way help you to explain how your relationship's changing? Maybe you're at a restaurant and you have a plate of French fries, and your friend starts to reach over. Now the French fries become incredibly important because that shows the relationship. You smack the hand away, or you let the person have some, or the bowl of chili on the next thing. Although just as sort of monumental and big and everything at the moment, has less import to your story, right? Now let's say you have a bowl of chili and nobody ever reached over. Well, okay, again, you've got fiction. It's great. Have the person start to do that. Highlight what it is that you want. That's what revision is, right? And then it starts to become a lot of fun. It's like, oh, I see how I'm getting closer and closer to this thing, right? Because there's a thing where your story, somehow it's wrong. It's just you have this vision and you have this emotion. You're not there, and it can be frustrating. Well, if you do revision this way, it becomes less frustrating. You get closer to what it is that you're trying to get to. Okay, so revise, and I'll come back to you with some more stuff.